So last time we did a Hello World program, but let's face it, this was a little ridiculous. We were editing our code in Notepad. Yeah, let's step it up a little bit. I did want to make things quick, but let's at least get a decent tool here. So, in terms of text editors, my personal favorite is Programmer's Notepad. Some programmers use Notepad++. I prefer this tool. It's a lot better, and it has a portable edition that was really handy for me in my early days programming without admin rights. So, I recommend getting Programmer's Notepad. It's pnnotepad.org. I'll make sure I include a link in the description. When you get Programmer's Notepad, you want to open it up yourself. And make sure you do some basic configuration, obviously. So I like to use the integration tab and make sure that I add the edit with Programmer's Notepad to my Explorer. I also like to make sure that I use tabs for indentation. I know some programmers don't like that. I don't really care. I also like to show my line numbers so I can know where I am in my code. Whenever there's an error, it almost always points to a line number. My tab width is usually 2, and I also keep a nice big colored line at the end of the 80th column, and that's just because I like to be able to keep more than one bit of code on the screen at a time, and it makes sure that my code's not too wide. But those are my basic configurations on Programmer's Notepad. I recommend you find something that works for you. Don't assume that everything I do is the best. But with the integration feature, I can now right-click on this and edit it with Programmer's Notepad. And that's a whole lot easier to read. We've added some syntax highlighting here that Programmer's Notepad adds by default because it recognizes that .cs is a C# file. So we've got our public static void main, which you can swap for private. Some programmers prefer it, but it's not really huge relevance. But you saw how without all the word, the color goes away. So the syntax highlighting ensures that we're typing in code that actually the compiler will understand. It also highlights our string here in a nice purple text, so if we accidentally forget to leave off that extra quote at the end, it highlights the line and lets us know there's going to be a problem. Syntax highlighting is very important to me as a programmer. It makes a big difference in my productivity. But we're not going to leave it at just downloading a tool today. We're going to step it up and make our program just a little more complicated. So when we press enter, when we did that in Notepad, we had to tab out to our new line, but it automatically does that for us in Programmer's Notepad, which is kind of nice. So we're going to use our system console read line feature. What that will do is that'll read a line of input from the user. So we need to ask the user for input. So let's change our message to please enter your name. And this way the first line the user will see is please enter your name, and then we'll wait for them to enter some text. Now if they're going to enter some text, we're going to receive it, but we need to do something with that text so that we can make sense of it. So let's take that text and store it in a variable. And we're going to name that variable name, because that's what they're entering. Now, this is a string variable, string being a grouping of text. And so that's the type that we put here. And then their name is the name of the variable. We put an equal sign to identify what the variable is getting assigned a value, and here's the value that it's getting assigned. The readLine method from the console class, the system namespace, is what's telling us what their name is. So then we want to give them a nice little message. System console write line again. And we're gonna say hello with a little space at the end and end our quotes, a plus sign, and then their name. And that allows the string in C# to be concatenated, which leaves we left this space here so that their name doesn't get bunched up against hello. We're going to leave this read on the end so we can see our program work, so it doesn't freeze up on us. We'll just go ahead and save this. Nice little save feature here, or save all files that you have open. There are lots of features of Programmer's Notepad beyond what I'm showing you, so don't underestimate it until you've looked it up. So we now can delete our old hello program. Let's go back to our version 4.0 of the Microsoft.NET framework. Remember, that's C, Windows, Microsoft.NET framework. And then you select the version. We scroll down to our csc.exe, shift right click, copy as path, and then we want to open up our cmd command prompt. Let's go to our desktop again, cd space desktop, paste in the C# compiler, and hello.cs is the name of the program that we're compiling. We get a nice little error here, and so there isn't a read line in our system.console, and that's because I made a typo. There's a capital L in read line. Capitalization matters a lot in programming. Now if we press the up arrow and press enter again, everything compiles just fine, and here's our exe file. We can double click it. It asks us for our name. Hello, Ted. So as you can see, very quickly we put together a nice little program, but this is a little convoluted as well, so let's make this a little better also. So in C#, we have a feature called using statements, and with the using statement we can take a namespace and add it to the list of assumed namespaces inside of the code we're working with. But if we're using the system namespace, we don't have to use all these other systems. Yeah, all I did was double click there and that all highlighted green. Don't be surprised. And so we have this system written all over the place, but now it's assumed. So we can go through here and we can just delete everywhere it says system.console. We can just leave it as console. And this saves us a whole lot of writing. And this is why people love the using statement. You'll see that when we get to IDEs later, it's pretty much defaults to having a bunch of using statements that are assumed that you're going to need. And you'll see that if we delete this file again and recompile, everything works just as expected. And because we did console.read, I don't just have to press enter here as I said, but last time I can press F or Z or anything and then enter, and it'll still close out on me. I hope that you found this tutorial useful, and have a great day.